So this is wild, right? So, you know, how do I even explain this? So sometimes things attach themselves to certain family lineages. Curses over time, yeah. So it usually manifests in the form of like a malevolent thing or being or energy or spirit that, or something even more sinister, that exists as well. Attaching itself onto a family lineage over centuries and centuries and centuries and centuries. So now my family has history of working in like funeral directory parlors and stuff like that. So we're very in touch with the spiritual world of reality, of existence, of what are we gonna call it now? Spirit. Or let's stick with the native year vision of it. Let's call it spirit, the supernatural, metaphysical reality, spaces in between. Are we sticking with like ghosts, spirits, angels, demons? Huh? So basically, my family has always been followed. We are troopers here in this household, and we fight for the better good, no matter what that better good might be right now. It's a little weird right now. I really don't know. Because in our family of 5 growing up, we all grew different branch trees. Yeah, we might be on the same bark, but we spread out and we grew our own branches. We're branches that grew our own branches now. So, you know, not very connected in the sphere of like being connected, like bonding and stuff. No. We're very much a disconnected family. And it's sad. It's sad. We used to be close. We used to play board games every night. We're the board game family, like, so we just got old. I don't like, it's just weird, how we drift apart. And anyway, that's not what I wanted to say. Basically, what I wanted to say was my mom, true story, had an exorcism done on her when she was 16. Because there was a malevolent spirit that would not leave her alone. That same something follows our family. And a lot of really cool, miraculous things happen as well. So it's not always about the scary. Because when you have a soul space team, like Battlestar and up there, you end up just figuring out that all your ancestors just want the best for you. Like, in every walk of life. Everything that any human body wants right now has been wanted before in existence. And has been given to said individuals that wanted those things. So that's a golden ratio comment. And that means if you stick to your linings, because sometimes it's the silent golden ratio that you gotta stick to, 4-3-2, 4-3-2. The reason that I wasn't going into detail is because I have a lot of other things to say as well, other than my physical, That's why I say, like, it's deeper than meets the eye. Just like the rabbit that went down the hole. So when are you gonna, like, actually tell us your story? Oh, well, shit. Sorry, I had to go to the store there for a second. So I went to the store. Sorry, I'm also, like, correcting my speech because sometimes it's just, like, gibber. Like, I decided to study gibberish and rubbish. The story. Alright, so in 2014, I recently graduated and I got my high school diploma. I had just graduated. It was that year of 2014. And I said to myself, I got to start doing something. I need to find a career. I was like career hungry at the time. And I said, okay, culinary arts. I love cooking. Why wouldn't I try to go, be a chef? And so I went, and, it's always like this, work, school, like, I always start with getting myself into the best version of myself physically. So, like, I have pictures of myself. I mean, I'm not ugly, but, I can improve upon some things. I just don't have what I need right now to improve upon some things, and it always goes back to square one. Focus on the weight. That's my go-to. And then I just focus on exercise and working out and creating the best regimens. And I do this until it's time to go to said new adventure. It's like prep work. But every time I go to the new adventure, or I'm on the adventure, and someone new likes me, it ends up being a mess. So I'm guilty of mixing work with love, school with love, friendships. Like, I could have had some long-lasting friendships mixed up with love. So, do I regret it all? Never. Everybody that you meet in life is supposed to meet you. And yeah, I'm supposed to be telling, like, my first psychotic episode story, but I'm leading up to it. So I met someone in culinary arts class, and we kind of hit it off, and we dated for a little bit. She would, like, come over and sleep with me in my room. I'm not going to say her name, but she would come over, sleep with me in my room, and, like, we would just spend all the time together, and just, like, that was that. But it also interfered with my growth in that particular class and you know what? It wasn't for me. My nerves were shot already. I was going through major anxiety, unmedicated, bipolar or whatever. I was just unmedicated, dude. It was weird. And, like, confusion and sexuality and shit like that. It was weird. Like, that's why I'm gonna say, 3 months into dating her, I ended up messaging some guy, because I was exploring my sexuality and my femininity as well. So I was working out at the track, my moon track. It's the only one I go to at nighttime. And it was like midnight, and I was doing dips, because I wanted to get my, trying to get rid of those, again. So I was doing dips, and he approached me, and he was like, hey, who's over there on my dips machine? And I didn't understand what he was saying. I was like, what the fuck? Someone's approaching me. It's midnight. Already, I was like a little nervous. I was like, okay, okay. So he came over and that's what he said, and then I knew it was innocent, but I still held like a little bit of caution. And he came over and he said, hey, do you know anything about the Illuminati? And I was like, no, that's weird, dude. I'm like, that's like, not even up in my biz. Like, not even a second up in my biz. Do I give a shit about that shit? And so he was like, okay, okay. And anyway, we ended up smoking a joint together. And then that's who I messaged 3 months into it, a culinary art school, 2014. So we actually got together in that October, and it was like drugs. It was drugs. We were doing, well, I was smoking marijuana. I was only smoking marijuana. He was like an acid dealer at the time, and I had no idea. But apparently the story goes is he fed me acid against my will. Like, I had no idea that he had, like, done that to me, but, he said something about making candy, like, he would, like, dehydrate candy, or, like, he wouldn't make it, I don't know. But a mutual distant relative said something like he believed everything that, like, came out of the story that went on with us, that, because he had a similar experience, and there was some weird shit going on at the time. People were talking about, like, vampire babies, and I was just like, what is going on around here? And I was just like, what? That's so fucking weird, really? Yeah. And, so basically, it all started with a universal frequency coming from the TV. And is this the start of your story? Yeah. Oh my god. Okay. And the universal frequency was tapping into, first it was harmonious, like an angelic frequency, like a solid family, like a family. And then what I believed happened was, because Jacob was so into his own world with acid, that he wanted to pull my world in with his world. And he so I had never been with a man before him. So all I had was experience with women up until that point. And I went into something called spiritual psychosis. Because not only was I experiencing something on a very deep level, I was also smoking marijuana and undiagnosed schizoaffective bipolar. So, and I got fed acid, like, without even being asked if I wanted it. So, I mean, all of that combined is gonna scare you. So the hallucinations didn't start yet. That was something else. I couldn't even believe my fucking eyes. So, So there was a lot of things going on, and it felt like a ball drop inside of me. And out of nowhere, I heard werewolves, and it was like a demonic frequency attack, because I heard in one of my higher selves, I heard no, because one of my higher selves was like, no, I'm going to take the attack right now instead of my mother. So I had already accepted that psychotic episode that I survived. And anyway, we call them psychotic episodes. What do you really know? What is the meaning for psychosis? Why does psychosis actually happen to a psyche mind? Psychic mind. Everybody has psychic capabilities. Everybody is a sensor meter to their surroundings. Everybody has antennas. Millions of antennas. With every pore in your body is an electrical charged open chemical pathway for electricity to enter into your electric energetic body. I'm scared to talk about this. So, we were in the living room listening to frequencies. I was anyway. I don't know what he was into, but there was some Egyptian back and forth going on as well, because on his chest he has the Horus Eye and a snake. So he was obviously like into ancient Egyptian himself, and so was I at the time, and it ended up turning into some Anuk-Sun-Namun past life regression, and it was basically something that I had no idea that was going to really transgress my entire past life transgressions up until this point. I understand my Egyptian heritage and lineage as well. So, and that's still an open box, like a Pandora's box that always keeps opening, but you gotta be careful, because I think it's just, I don't know. Maybe it's just a break right now, so everybody can get caught up with whatever it is we throw at them next, you see. Oh, I didn't really think of it like an arena. Like the ancestors are throwing your story, honey. But I was going to say the ancestors are like watching us, your story, honey. Anyway, I was in the living room. I had run out to the kitchen because I thought something bad was going to happen. I thought I had to sacrifice myself. So that didn't work. So, and then I heard that they were coming. The vampires. Like the bad ones. Before Twilight even existed. The bad ones were coming. And they were going to me. 3 things that I can't say. And what in my mind, I said, "Oh, really? Well, then I'm gonna end me before they get to me, so they can't me." When I say that's 3 words. And I ran upstairs. And this is not for children, guys. I basically tried to end my life because I thought they were coming. And the guy that fed me acid freaked out because he knew that it was no longer funny. We weren't tripping. It was serious. My life was leaving. So he called the ambulance, and I ran. And when they came, they said they called my name, and I walked down the stairs and slid all down the wall because I was losing my life. And I sat down at the bottom. There was like a little platform before the next 4 little steps down. I sat down there and we talked, and like we just talked, and I was defensive right away because they had fangs. And then I learned about interdimensional beings and interdimensional frequency waves. So yeah, you can get lost out there in Silent Hill. So, they were vampires? Yeah. And I had to ride with them the whole way. And 4-dimensional time was going all over the place. I was hearing so many essences of spirits all over me. And all I could hear was Ray. Ray, Ray. And this is the start of where I'm going to stop at. So the last thing you know is that Ray. I heard Ray. While I was laying in the back of the ambulance, there was one ambulance paramedic. Paramedic that was sitting above my head, and there was one that was sitting to like the left of me on his bench, and I was in the bed, like your normal ambulance. And they kept asking me questions, and they wanted to help me because I had wounds exposed, and I wouldn't let them because they just, and then it was just not okay. It's 23 minutes. I'll be back.